Greetings, this is Daryl Hanning, and today I'm going to be showing the viewer the basic game version of Turbofans, which is a pretty quick little affair. It's a Eurogame time frame. It's about 30 minutes per player. Could be even less. It's only 6 turns, and it doesn't use the aircraft, which are the matinee piece of the standard game. We're just going to deal with flights going onto the board in the basic game, trying to score points off major airports. Okay. If you look at the board, you can see that there is a turn track in the upper right corner. It shows 12 turns, but the game has since been cut down to 10, so you can just disregard that. In any case, we're only playing 6 turns in the basic game. Okay. Below that, to the left, you have the aircraft availability track, which isn't used in the basic game because the aircraft aren't used. We then have the card deck and discard pile. We have the fuel cost display, again, not being used in the basic game. And then the player order track. And around the outside, we have the victory point track. These little white boxes here are also used for the standard game, so we can ignore those. The primary component of the board, of course, is the map, and in it you will find 15 major airports arranged in a 5x3 grid. Each major airport has a unique color combination. So Seattle looks different from St. Louis, for instance. Okay. These are matched on the cards, which you'll see shortly. Now, around these 15 major airports, we have what are called minor airports, and they come in 2 flavors. The darker ones, such as Cincinnati, that I'm pointing at here, which you probably can't even see. There, Cincinnati, Detroit, Madison, Helena. These are all 6-gate minor airports. Salt Lake City, Des Moines, Springfield, and Philadelphia are all large minor airports with 8 gates. Other than that, they're identical. The number of gates is the only thing that makes them different from each other. They're all minor airports. You'll also note that the board is divided up into 6 regions with these blobs, pardon my crappy artistry. And some of the regions have 3 airports in them, and some of the regions only have 2 airports in them, such as the Northeast and the South Central and the Southwest. Okay, this is based on geographic proximity. So this is the Southeast: Atlanta, Miami, and Orlando. Dallas isn't really in the Southeast. Baltimore isn't in the Southeast. So you get the idea. Okay. So each player, in the vassal module at least, is going to have 2 boards. One of them is going to be where their player pieces are kept, and this is going to allow them to build their flight manifest for the turn. They have 30, each player has 30 short range markers, which can be flipped over to medium range flights on the back, and 30 long range markers, which can be flipped to very long flights on the back. Okay. We have a turn order marker and control markers for the airports that we control, and a victory points marker. So let's go ahead and put this out here on the victory point track. And let's put our turn order marker. And this is going to be tricky. Let's put our turn order markers out here. So Air from Down Under was our primary candidate, our first player. Parrot Head is the second one. And scoot them over a little bit more. And third is Dandelion. Okay. Each player has a card hand, such as Down Under's right here. And we're going to try to drag them all back out here, so you can see what's going on. Okay. Each player is going to get 5 cards at the beginning of the game. And each player has a sequence of play card, which we're going to flip over to the basic game side. And there are 5 phases in a turn. So the first phase is setup, which is where each player gets to draw a 6th card, and then they must choose one of those cards to be their flight manifest. So let's look at Down Under's card hand, and we're going to zoom in on it here so you can take a decent look at it. Alright, so we're going to order them kind of geographically here, so you get some idea. Okay, so he's got 3 setting up in the east and 2 for setting up in the west. Now let's draw our 6th card, and that pretty much makes it a slam dunk. Down Under is going to base his operations initially in the east. Okay, so that means he's going to want to keep these 4 cards here, and these 2 are expendable. Now, the card you pick for your flight manifest, you're going to be discarding that card, and what you want to look at is that bottom section of the card where it shows an airplane icon and a number 9 underneath it. That is the number of flights on the turn that you will get to use should you use this flight manifest. And in this case, you would get 1 short range flight, 3 medium range flights, 3 long range flights, and 2 very long range flights. So we're going to go into more detail in a moment, but just so you get some idea what's going on here, short flights can only go at minor airports, mediums can go at minor or major airports, and long and very long flights can only go at major airports. And the minor airports provide support for the major airports, which I'll show you in just a few minutes here. So we're going to go ahead and use the Minneapolis card, and we're going to get 1 short and 3 mediums. So let's go back over here. There's our short, and we're going to flip these over to mediums. 3 mediums. 3 longs, and 2 very longs. Okay, and that card is discarded. And let's shrink him back down for the time being. And let's go look at Parrot Head. Give him his 5 initial plus 1. So typically in a real game you would be all deciding at the same time what card you're going to use, and secretly picking one and placing it face down in front of you. And once all players have picked a flight manifest card, they all get revealed and everybody takes their aircraft. So this is wow, this is a very pro Western Look at that. Phoenix, 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 LA, San Fran, Denver. Holy cow. This makes things tough. We're going to skip Denver. It's going to give us the most flights. And they're going to be 3 shorts, 3 mediums, 2 longs, and 2 very longs. Okay, and this is orange. Three, 3, 2, 2. 3, 3. 2 and 2. Okay. Next is dandelion. Let's take a look at them. And one to grow on. Okay. And just as the other one was predominantly west, that one was completely west. I'm not fooling anybody. This one's predominantly east. So Atlanta, New York, if you look at the board, you can see they share a minor airport that is common to them, Philadelphia. And even though, well, this is actually the best one. An 8 is not typically your best flight manifest card, but we're going to go with it. So 3113. So shrink this back down. Pardon my klutziness. 3, 1, 1, 3. Okay, so we're ready to rock and roll. So Down Under is going to be first to go out there. And looking at his hand, refresh our memory. Let's see, did we get rid of all the other cards? We did, didn't we? Yeah, everybody's got 5. That's what it should be. Okay, and he's got 2 New Yorks, a Baltimore, and a Miami. So he's going to start with a short range flight in Philadelphia. Now, the first flight you place in the game has to go to a minor airport, so therefore it has to be a short or medium range flight. Cannot be a long or very long. They only go to major airports. Okay. That short flight is going to provide you support at the connecting major airports. So let's put this short in Philadelphia, and I'll show you what I mean. And I always like to point them at the center, just like they're parked at a terminal. Okay. So this short flight at Philadelphia allows me now to place flights at the 4 major airports that are connected to it: Indianapolis, New York, Atlanta, and Baltimore. Okay? Without that, you cannot place at these airports. Furthermore, you cannot place more than 1 flight at any of these airports unless you have a second flight somewhere. So for instance, let's say on their second play, Down Under put a medium in Springfield. What that means is he could place up to 2 flights in Indianapolis and Atlanta, or 1 flight in 1 flight in St. Louis, 1 flight in Chicago, New York, and Baltimore. So because these 2 both connect to Indy and Atlanta, that gives you the support for 2 flights at those 2 airports. Okay? This will become more evident as we move along. So anyway, he placed a flight at a minor airport, and when you do that, you have the option to discard one card out of your hand and draw a replacement card. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get rid of this Denver card. It doesn't really fit our plans. And we're going to draw Indianapolis, which isn't bad. As you can see, Indy is connected to Philly. That's a nice draw. Okay. Next turn is orange. And Phoenix, Phoenix, Phoenix. Oh my goodness. Okay. So he's going to put a short in Oklahoma City because that's connected to Phoenix. And he likes all his cards. He's not going to discard any of them. They're all in the Southwest. Okay, next is Dandelion. Dandelion has Miami, Indianapolis, 2 Atlantas, and a New York. So we too want to go, well, let's avoid direct confrontation for the moment. Let's go to Charlotte. Okay, that connects to Miami and Atlanta and Baltimore, but not New York or Indianapolis. All right, and we like our cards, so we're going to keep them. Yeah, we could probably get rid of Indy, but since we have New York also, let's keep them. So, round 2, back to Down Under. So now that he has a flight in Philadelphia, let's go look at his hand again. He's got Indy, Baltimore, and 2 New Yorks, and Miami. So he's going to be pretty busy up here. We're going to go ahead and put a second flight in Philadelphia. Medium. And we like our cards, so we're not going to trade one in. So now it's orange. Parrot Head. Parrot Head, well, he's got Los Angeles and Phoenix and San Francisco, so he probably wants to be in Las Vegas also. So let's put a short in Las Vegas. And he too likes his cards. Okay. Now it's a yellow. He's got 2 Atlantas, an Indy, and a New York. So he is going to put a short in Philadelphia. And he's pretty happy with his hand too. Back to purple. Okay, so he's got 2 flights in Philadelphia now. So he's going to use one of his New York cards to put a long in New York. Now, as we already covered, he can do that because he has support in Philadelphia for that flight. You can still only place at a major airport if you have a card for that airport, and that is why he had to discard the New York card to place that long flight at JFK. When you place a flight at a major airport, you get to draw 2 new cards. See what he got. Let's see what he got. You got Baltimore and Minneapolis. So he's now at 6 cards. And the hand limit is 5 for the basic game. So we have to get rid of 1, and we're going to get rid of Minneapolis because that just doesn't fit our scheme right now. Okay. So he's done for the turn. So now we go to orange. And he is going to put his first flight at Phoenix. And he's going to put a long in Phoenix. Okay, he gets 2 cards. And neither of them really fit with his game plan, but he's going to get rid of Miami because he's got 6 cards. Okay, so now it's yellow. And he's going to go to Atlanta. Discards an Atlanta card. And puts a long in Atlanta. And draws 2 cards. Well, that didn't help. 2 Los Angeles cards. Back to Down Under. So he could go ahead and put 1 in New York, but here's the thing. If he does it too soon, yellow also is up here, so for all he knows, yellow's going to put a flight there after him, and that will probably make it worth more than his flight. So he's going to stall for time. He'll put 1 in Baltimore, and he'll put a long here, and he will take 2 cards. Chicago and San Francisco goes away. So as I stated before, Philadelphia supports these 4 airports. So Down Under can have up to 2 flights at each of these 4 airports. Okay. On to Parrot Head. And Parrot Head isn't going to beat around the bush. He's going to go ahead and take control of Phoenix. So he plays a second Phoenix card. And he's going to put it very long in Phoenix. So this is how this works. The first flight at a major airport always goes at gate 1. Thereafter, any medium flight placed goes above any previously placed medium flights at that airport and below any long or very long flights. A long flight goes above any existing mediums and existing longs and below the lowest very long. And then the very longs go at the top of the ladder. So when you put a very long down, it's always going to go to the next highest gate spot. In this case it was 2. And then other very longs may be put down after that, and they'll go at subsequently higher gate spots. Now, in order to control an airport, you must have at least 2 flights of your own and have a total gate value higher than anybody else. Not equal to, but higher than anybody else. And right now he's got 3 gate points and nobody else even has a flight here. So he controls Phoenix. Okay? And he gets 2 cards. Let's not forget that. Seattle and Orlando. Well, Orlando doesn't look very exciting. We'll get rid of that. Dandelion. He's going to go to Indy. Because purple isn't there yet. And he draws 2 cards. Well, St. Louis might be useful. Phoenix and Los Angeles, not so much. Back to Down Under. So he's going to go ahead and put a second flight in Baltimore. Well, no, he's going to put it in New York. He'll put it in New York. And he's going to put a long. And I'll tell you what. Yeah, he's going to put a long there. So it goes above any existing longs, which is right there. And that gives him control of New York. He draws 2 cards. So he's got 2 Chicagos now. For the time being, he's going to discard one of those. Okay. Back to orange, back to Parrothead. So he's got control of Phoenix. So we're going to put a flight in San Francisco. Draw 2 cards. Alright, well, something tells me I'm going to have to go to Seattle here. 2 Seattle cards. Okay. Next is Dandelion. They're going to go ahead and put a flight in New York, because if he puts a very long there, because of the next higher date, and now Down Under does not have more gate points than anybody else at New York, and so he promptly loses control. Okay, so just like that, you can get your gains canceled out. And yellow gets 2 cards. Well, okay. This is diversifying on me. Back to Down Under. So he's lost New York now. But he can still take Baltimore. So he's going to do that. And he gains control. And he gets 2 cards. He doesn't want Phoenix. Okay. Dandelion. He's going to go ahead and drop his last very long in Atlanta. Which gives him control. And 2 cards. San Francisco and Denver. Well, we're going to get rid of San Francisco. Back to purple. Well, he can expand down to Charlotte. And he can do that because of 2 reasons. Charlotte's connected to Philly, and Charlotte's connected to Baltimore, and he has flights in both places. Let's put a medium in Charlotte. And he can elect to drop 1 card, which I think will be Dallas, and draw 1 card, which is Dallas. That happens way too often. Okay. Parrothead. Well, I guess he'll go to Seattle. So to get there, he's going to have to go to Salt Lake City first. And he can definitely, let's see, he'll get rid of the Indianapolis card. And he gets to Los Angeles. That worked out nicely. Okay. Dandelion. Oh boy. Well, he'll put 1 in Miami. Hang on. See, he's only got 1 more flight he can put in a major airport. He's got a short and a medium. The short can only go to minors. He's not remotely close to Denver, but he is close to Dallas. But he has... Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to put a short in Nashville. And we're going to get rid of a Denver card. And draw Minneapolis St. Paul. Out of the frying pan into the fire. Back to down under. And he's going to drop a very long in Miami. Discard a Miami card. Get 2 cards. Well, Indy works. I'm going to get rid of Chicago. Okay. Back to Parrot Head. And Parrot Head. He's going to drop a medium in Las Vegas, because he's going to end up needing 2 support for Los Angeles. So now, just so you're aware, he could put 3 flights in Phoenix and 4 flights in Denver. Okay. And does he want to discard a card? Not really. Not really. Dandelion, down to their last freaking flying. Well, they're going to put a medium in Dallas. Just to be a little bit more spread out. And they get 2 cards. Okay, they like that. They like that. They're going to get rid of Minneapolis. Back to purple. He gets 1 flight. Yeah, can't go to Miami because he doesn't have enough support. But he does have 2 Dallas cards, so looking to the future, he too will put a flight in Nashville. And he likes his cards. Okay, orange. Orange is going to drop a medium in Los Angeles. Take 2 cards. Yeah, Indianapolis, I don't think so. Okay, Dandelion has no flights left, so Dandelion is forced to pass. So let's move everything out of the way. Okay. Now it's back to down under. He too must pass. And now it's just Parrot Head, and he gets 2 flights, and he doesn't have to worry about anybody doing anything to him. Well, he's going to put a very long in Los Angeles, as it gets him points. And he draws 2 cards. And let's bring this back over here so you can look at it. Yeah, Orlando. That's the odd man out. Alright, he's got 1 flight left. He'll put a medium in Dallas Fort Worth. So we already have a medium. So any new medium goes at the next gate higher than any existing mediums. So he's at gate 2. And he can trade in 1 card for that. And why do I only have, oh, because he draws 2 cards. Doesn't care about Orlando. Alright, so now he's done too. And he passes. And this will be the player order for the next turn. So, what's next? Next is scoring phase. And if you look at the card, it says major airports each get you 2 points. And for each region within which you have a controlled airport, 1 or more controlled airports, you get an additional point. So let's do this in player order. Yellow is first. Let's look at yellow. Yellow has Atlanta. So that's 2 points, plus they have an airport controlled in the southeast, so they get 3 points. Okay. And next is purple. Purple has Baltimore, Washington. And that's it. So they get 3 points. Okay, Parrot Head. Parrot Head has controlled 2 airports, Phoenix and Los Angeles. So that's 4 points, 2 for each hub, and 1 point for regions where they control airports. So that's a total of 5 points for orange. Alright. Next in sequence is retirement phase. And during the retirement phase, let's look at this better. You're going to remove flights from the board equal to the game turn -1. So on game turn 1 you retire no flights. On game turn 2 you will retire 1 flight. Game turn 3, 2 flights, and so on. Okay. And then you discard cards equal to your scoring position if you choose, and draw replacements for them. So in first, for points, is orange, so he can replace 1 card. So let's look at his hand. Atlanta. So he'll get rid of Atlanta. Oh, 2 St. Louis. That's nice. Okay, so these guys are both in second. So they each get to exchange 2 cards. So yellow he doesn't want to discard 2 cards, but he will discard 1. You get rid of Denver. And gets Dallas, which at least is a lot closer. He's already in Dallas, in fact. That's a very nice card. And then we have Parrot Head. No. We have Down Under. I think Down Under's pretty happy with his hand. So he won't exchange any either. So now we, that's it. It's turn 2. So that's how a turn in the basic game plays. And as more and more turns pile up, you'll have more and more flights out at airports, and things can get kind of crowded, particularly at the minors. And I think that's all we're going to cover for today. So I hope you, I hope that was enlightening, and I hope you enjoyed it and can see the possibilities for the game. Thank you very much.